on the little short stack.
The proverbial chip and a chair.
If I don't believe it's a good fold, I can't.
You hear Bueno still talking about the two aces in the laydown. Both players showing some respect to each other and showing their whole cards there.
Alexander Vassafira has been nursing a short stack for most of the day. Here we see him with ace-7, and he's going to make a smallish raise to 42,000.
Well, at a short-handed table, you know, even first position, you got to start playing more pots and being a little more aggressive. Not a great hand, obviously ace-7, but he's looking to steal the blinds. No, he's not going to get away with it here. Manole has 2-8s in the big blind. The only question here is, does he call, or does he look at the short stack and say, you know what, I'm just going to put you all in. So he's sizing up the situation. That's exactly what he's thinking right now. Do I want to call out of position or apply maximum pressure with a re-raise here out of position? That's a good play.
And that will put Vassafira all in.
I think Manole's making the right play here. He does have a decent size stack. He's sort of taking advantage of the fact that Vassafira is on the short stack. You know, if he gets called, he'd assume he's up against 2 overcards. It's a 50-50 situation. But with 2-8s, I think it's important to just take that pot right away, and that's what he's going to do. Vassafira making a good fold. He was in bad shape with just 1 overcard. So you know, you got to get aggressive, but then you got to dodge bullets as well.
Well, no surprise here to see Jan Bublé all in, forced to shove under the gun with king-6. Cornel Simpen has called him with 10s, and Bublé flopped an open-ender. Will the straight materialise on the river? No, it won't. He is out in 18th place. 26,000 euros he'll collect. We lose another former EPT champion.
Well, they're dropping like flies. I'm sure most of the players remaining are happy to see him go. Bublé, a very tough player.
Former champion-wise, we've still got Jens Kullonen, we've still got Roland de Wolf, and we've still got Mike Timex McDonald.
Of course, we still have Patrick Bueno playing very well, as you saw, folding the aces in the right spot, but his chip stack heading in the wrong direction. Action's going to fold over to Kullonen, who picks up 2 8s. He's our queen 3 guy, who essentially was Elke's undoing. And he's got position here, so obviously an aggressive player like this, you usually expect a re-raise, but he's going to only call. Okay, so playing tricky.
He's got that button, he's got position.
Well, when you do have position, it's actually, you know, you feel more comfortable seeing a flop, because of course you have more information once that flop hits.
The blinds get out of the way, so we're going to be heads up. It's Bueno against Kullonen, the ace-3 against the 8s.
Well, those middle pairs are tough to play sometimes. If you don't hit the 8 on the flop, you know, there's always going to be an overcard. But wow! This is an action flop, to say the least. Bueno's got the nut flush draw. Kullonen with a set of 8s. I wouldn't be surprised to see some major fireworks here on the flop.
Well, here comes the continuation bet from Bueno with that nut flush draw.
Well, Bueno has to know, no matter what Kullonen has, he's got a shot here with the ace-high flush draw. You see he's just 26% to win the pot because Kullonen has the set of 8s. Question is he going to raise now or raise later? Well, he's just going to, I'm just going to call. Okay. No diamond there for Bueno. The question is, does he fire again, a second bullet, try to push Kullonen off a hand? It won't work, as we see. Kullonen has the 3 8s. He's got to bet here. So many draws out there. Straight draws now in addition to the flush draw. Looks like he's going to try to size out a bet of about half the pot. Checking back. Yeah, I still got 3 8s.
140,000. How should Bueno respond here?
Well, you know, there's a couple things Bueno could do. As you see, his chips are hemorrhaging a little bit. He could, his table image might be a little bit shot, so check raise might not be working as well, you know, as you might think earlier. But, you know, he has to really just figure out what kind of hand Kullonen is going to call the flop with and bet the turn. So if he feels that he's up against a really strong hand, I think he's just going to call. If he feels like he could move Kullonen off a hand, he might go for the bluff. But he's just going to call here and try to hit his diamond.
The painful thing for him would be if he hit his ace.
Well, the ace won't do him any good. A full house now for Kullonen. The way Bueno's played this hand, it looks like he's just giving up. He's given Kullonen credit for a big hand. Kullonen really hoping that he's up against the king. Wants to get paid off. wants to bet an amount now that he thinks will get paid off. As we know, Bueno's not calling here with ace high. Very unlikely. Now Kulinen doing a little... You know, all these kids are doing this now. They all just go, ha. Yeah, you have a full house. Go ahead and bet. Come on. Looks like a sizable bet. We call it the Hollywood move.
Practically the size of the pot. It's one of those all or nothing bets, isn't it? It could be that he's got an absolute monster or he missed his diamond draw.
Well, what he's really hoping is to make it look like a bluff with the big bet, hoping Bueno will call him with something like queens. But obviously Bueno missed his draw, isn't going to make the call. Kulinen had the best hand the whole way and takes down a really good pot.
Well, Bueno's making good decisions, but look at this. He's played 16 hands. He's won 6 out of 7 pre-flop, taking the blinds and antes, but post-flop he's only 2 of 9.
Well, that's a telling stat right there. 2 of 9 after flop. That's when most of the chips get in.
Well, from one Frenchman to another, sadly one who is no longer in this tournament.
Well, he
collect his winnings.
Yeah, nobody wants to do an interview when they bust. They want to hit the rail and run.
King 10 for Tony Oyala. He's short stacked. He is all in.
Just 143,000 in chips. You're really looking for any kind of a playable hand, and certainly King 10 of clubs qualifies. Obviously, you'd always like to pick up the blinds, but even if you get called by a hand like 2 sevens, you're not in awful shape. Manole is going to let it go.
So he's just got the blinds to get through. Masafira has folded the small, so Patrick Bueno in the big with 4s.
Well, and this is exactly the kind of situation, you know, he doesn't mind getting his money in here with King 10 of clubs against 2 4s. As you see the percentages, it's pretty much 50-50 a coin flip. For Bueno, though, it's kind of a risky call. You can never be in great shape with a small pair.
It's a hand you want to raise with rather than call with.
And he is going to make the call. A little loosey-goosey. I'm surprised Bueno made the call. I thought maybe he would just fold it, but...
Oyala will be very happy to see not only has he got 2 live cards, he's got 2 over cards. He's 50-50.
Yeah, can't ask for much better than that when you're actually called.
Well, he now has an inside straight draw to go with his 2 overs to the board. Bueno still leads, though.
Well, not an awful flop there for Oyala. He's got the Jack, the Queen, the King, the 10. All those would be good cards for him. Turn card no good, though. Bueno has the 4 of hearts, giving him a flush draw that takes away some of Oyala's outs. He now needs a 10. There you go.
Hits on the river and will double up through Patrick Bueno. Now has 306,000 in chips. I tell you what, this poor French guy is just... It's just not going his way.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it doesn't seem like he's doing anything right. Again, I think the 4s call is a little suspect. He's up against a short stack, but just those are hands that you're never in great shape with. And a great pot there for Oyala to double up, and he's breathing a sigh of relief, saying, I can't believe it. This game, wow. You see agony of defeat and the joys of victory.
Bueno posts the small blind. So the action is going to be on Oyala, who we just saw double up on that last hand.
Well, he's going to feel like he has a little more breathing room now. Hand like 3-4. No thanks. He can wait.
Jens Kulinen also folding. Mihai Manole with the 8-9.
He's going to give it up in late position also.
So Vasafira on the button with 6-8. He's short stacked. He's waiting for a hand to make a move with. That won't be it. Blind on blind, and it's a small ace for Bueno.
Well, he's going to raise, and really right now what Bueno needs to have happen is just for him to pick up an easy pot and hopefully have his opponent just fold. You know, right now when you start getting beaten down like that hand after hand, you just need to get some things going in the right direction. 32,000 for Newton to call with a 10-8 in position. He's looking at a wounded soldier here in Bueno.
And Newton is kind of this guy's nemesis. The aces against the ace-jack when Newton made the flush. Won a decent-sized pot of him.
Well, yeah, you know, that was obviously a tough hand to lose. Bueno did play it right, but eventually that kind of stuff wears on you a little bit. So ace-2 offsuit, a tough hand to play out of position.
King of hearts, 8 of diamonds.
And wow, not a good flop for Bueno. It looks like a clean flop in that, you know, it's unlikely to hit Newton. So you expect Bueno to go ahead and make a continuation bet, but I don't think Newton's folding once he flops 2 pair with this hand.
46,000.
Now Bueno just really hoping Newton's going to fold. Newton isn't going to fold here. If you're going to play an 8-10 in position, you expect your opponent to bet most flops. If you flop a pair, you got to at least call, and that's exactly what Newton's doing here.
Let's see the turn card.
Question is, Will Patrick now put the brakes on?
Well, he's been getting crushed after the flop, as we saw by that stat, and once again he's giving up on this turn card. He's not going to bluff it through, realizing now that he's in trouble, and Newton playing it safe, saying, you know what, let's just hope my eights are good, I don't need to play a big pot.
Deuce of hearts.
Could be a little trouble for Bueno. Now he can beat a better ace high, but realistically that card didn't change too much from his perspective.
What do you do if you're Newton here? Do you value bet or just check it down?
Yeah,
the
I think
showdown value?
you know, I think I'm gonna bet here. I'm gonna bet a little something. Looks like Bueno has ace high, which is exactly the kind of range that I put him on. So a small bet of 45,000, pure value bet, hoping to just get a really weak call from Bueno, knowing that Bueno's psyche right now has to be a little defeated, might be a little off. And look at this.
Yeah, Bueno is going to pay him off, and he will show the 8.
Well, Bueno did make the great laydown earlier with aces here. Slightly suspect call there. He got called in the flop. He was checking the turn. You have to think the guy has a little something.
Okay, but once you sober up, you lose the hat.
We've got Kulinen folding a 6-3 offsuit. He plays a lot of hands, just not that one.
Manoli with the Queen Jack.
Well, this is a mediocre hand. You know, these hands look a lot better than they really are. 2 picture cards. If you get played with, it's easily to be up against a hand that's dominating you with like ace-queen or ace-jack type of hand. But Manoli is going to raise it up to 40,000 with the queen-jack anyway.
Masafira at the tournament's short stack, looking for a hand to make a move with. Hasn't found it yet. Bueno calling in position with the ace-queen.
Well, as mentioned, Manoli is in trouble here in terms of being dominated. Bueno also in position with the ace-queen.
Oh, hang on a sec.
Well, Oyala with pocket nines now.
Does he squeeze?
Well, it might be a good situation to do that. The first raiser, Manoli, doesn't really have to have anything. Bueno didn't re-raise, so look at this. Oyala is going for what we call the squeeze play, pushing it all in with the 2 nines, trying to pick up the pot right here and right now. Expect Manoli to fold here with a queen-jack.
Question is, what does Bueno do? It's a healthy percentage of his stack.
Well, Bueno could have re-raised his hand before the flop in position. Now that he hasn't, he's put himself in kind of a tough position here against the nines. If he would have re-raised, now all of a sudden, Oyala's like, oh man, I got nines. I don't know what to do here. So he's going to make the call here with 2 overcards.
Hold it. Now, at the start of the hand, Patrick had 483,000. This is about 60% of his stack on the line here.
Well, this is a huge pot here, close to 650,000. Oyala is in front, as you see by the percentages with the pocket nines. Bueno, nothing going right for him, hoping to turn that around right here, right now.
Looks like Bueno's luck has changed. He hits a queen on the flop and puts Tony Oyala at risk.
Well, it's not over yet, although Bueno is way in front. There are some cards Oyala could catch. That is not one of them. He's going to need to catch a 9 on the river. Otherwise, he'll be eliminated, and Bueno will be back on track one time.
He caught on the river before, and he does it again! He hits a
Unbelievable.
9, a 2-outer, and he makes it!
Unbelievable. Bueno just has to be shaking his head saying, it doesn't matter what I do here. Coin flip, pocket aces, nothing's working.
1,000, the big blind at 16,000. And action on Mihai Manoli with the ace-5.
He's going to wait for a better hand. He's in decent chip position, so he can be a little more selective. Patrick Bueno, on the other hand, is not going to be quite as selective. On the button, making a play for his last 152,000 in chips with a Jack-7 offsuit. Obviously, oh no, not his nemesis again. He's really hoping to just get through it, but Newton Ace-King, not going to fold here.
The right move at the wrong time.
Well, nothing at all going right for Bueno.
Julian makes the call.
He's going to be a 2-to-1 underdog here when he sees Newton's hand.
Tony will pass. Let's see, please, gentlemen.
And even though his Jack and his 7 are live, Daniel, the way he's been running, I just can't see him hitting.
Well, you know, maybe this is his big sort of climb back, but you know, it just does. You just don't feel it, do you? It feels like the Ace-King's going to destroy him right here on the flop. And there you go. Well, Bueno's going to need a lot of help on the turn and river to stay alive. I mean, he's just got to be like dumbfounded by what happened here at the feature table.
I'll tell you what, sometimes the poker gods send you a message that it just isn't your day, and Patrick Bueno has been getting that message for the last 44 hands. Will the 45th work out for him? He has the open-ended straight draw.
He's got a little bit of life, an ace or a 9 he's going to need.